Hey, why don't y'all go watch some jujitsu videos and take some notes? What's the deal, y'all? We're Trapper tapping in TNN Trap News Network. Back in the same, like Cook cracking the same here at TNN Trap News Network. Good news you can use. Get knowledge, we ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. Hit the like, hit the comment, hit the good subscribe button for more of this good. It's, come put a bag in this trash can for me. Remind me to get some glasses fixed tomorrow. Thank you. TNN Trap News Network. News you can use. Get knowledge, you ain't finna get nobody's college, big dog. I actually have some real news for you guys. Some real news. In the meantime, between time, hit me up on Instagram. We are looking for 3 new correspondents for TNN. Thank you, Poppy. 3 new correspondents for TNN Trap News Network. We are looking for 3 new correspondents for TNN Trap News Network. Good newsington. You can usington. Get knowledge, you ain't finna get nobody's college. We need 3 people to bust a news thing, man. Hit me up on Instagram. It's a paid opportunity. I tell the boy to give me the trash can with a bag in it. He don't give me the trash can. He just put the bag in and go about his business, but it's all right. Don't worry about it. This is a paid opportunity, so hit me up if you're serious. I am as serious as you are, and your chili will be dictated by the algorithm, not me. So don't get mad at nobody. Get mad at whatever. You feel me? We finna jump into this content. Interesting, man. Ohio man 187 the deputy the day after the police 187 his son. This has been going on huge in our space. I don't think a lot of people are paying attention to it, but I think that it deserves some light. Let's get into it.
Chaos at court as a man accused of killing a sheriff's deputy a day after his son was shot by a police officer asked to be released on bail. I lay out the horrific chain of events out of Ohio and where the case could be heading.
Are you familiar with acts of someone that is not in their right mind when they commit a criminal act?
I'm Anjanette Levy, and this is Crime Fix. Before I get into this case out of Ohio, I want to talk a little bit about true crime news and law and crime merch. The Law and Crime Docket is your once QR code number. He was still working, though, occasionally for that sheriff's office in Cincinnati doing special details. Last Friday, he was doing that, directing traffic for graduation at the University of Cincinnati when police say a man named Rodney Hinton Jr. deliberately drove his vehicle into Henderson at this intersection. Deputy Henderson was rushed to the local trauma center, but there was nothing that could be done to save him. Within hours, he passed away from these devastating injuries. You're probably asking yourself, why would anybody deliberately drive a vehicle into somebody, much less a sheriff's deputy who was directing traffic at a college graduation? Well, police say Rodney Hinton Jr. did this on purpose, possibly to avenge the death of his son, Ryan Hinton. Ryan Hinton was 18 years old, and a day earlier, a Cincinnati police officer shot and killed him after encountering him and some others in a car that had been reported stolen out of Kentucky. Here's the police chief.
Officers across the country confront
And let's make it clear, that boy did not have a blower on him. He had what the police thought was a weapon, but you could think a lot of things. That don't make it true.
dangerous situations every day, sometimes more than once a day. They are often compelled to make split-second decisions to protect others and themselves when faced with immediate threats. Yesterday was one of those occurrences. Let me be very direct. We cannot allow individuals to flee from officers with a loaded firearm aimed at them. When this happens, the outcome is almost always tragic. No one wins, and everyone involved is affected.
Police Chief Teresa Thigi outlined what occurred. It's something the Cincinnati Police Department does within 24 hours of an officer-involved shooting taking place.
Where the incident occurred is at the dead end of the parking lot back here. You'll see vehicles there now. You'll see a photo. The stolen car that we're going to talk about was backed into a parking spot back there. As you can see, this is a stolen Kia. It was stolen out of northern Kentucky yesterday. You can see we have two uniformed cars there. Prior to those uniformed cars arriving, we had two undercover cars that pulled into that dead end, saw the vehicle. They backed out. They saw that there were individuals inside the vehicle, so they backed out and let the uniformed cars make the approach, which is the tactically sound decision to do. The cars are positioned the way the officers are trained. We are trained to use our vehicles as cover from any threat. That's what those officers did with the cars at that time.
Chief Thiegy then played a short portion of the body camera footage.
This is body-worn camera from officer number 2. Go ahead, Bobby.
He's got a gun! He's got a gun! On your right! On your right!
This is the body camera footage from the officer who actually shot Ryan Hinton.
This is the other officer, the one who fires the shot. This is his body camera as he approaches the scene. This is the firearm that was recovered at the scene after the individual was shot. This is what he had in his hand while the officers were chasing him.
So why the body camera don't show? Why y'all not showing in court the actual pow-powing? Come on, bro. Y'all unalive that little boy. His daddy got his get back, though. Free that man.
It's just a photo of it here at Criminalistics. Remember I told you he fell on the concrete and the officers said that they heard the metal hit the ground? There are 3 spots on here where this gun has scratches on it. We believe those occurred when he hit the ground with the firearm. This is a second. Sorry, Bobby, can you go back 1 frame, please? This magazine was in the firearm. That's an extended magazine, so it holds more rounds. Go ahead. This is a second magazine that was located in his sweatshirt pocket, his jacket pocket. And that is the magazine from that second magazine. This is another firearm that was located inside the stolen vehicle. This is a firearm that was also stolen out of northern Kentucky sometime yesterday, early yesterday morning. Approximately, we believe, based on timelines, this was stolen from a vehicle in northern Kentucky, and then they went on to steal the vehicle that's involved in the incident.
I want to tell you about a free app that I've tried. It's called
Now, what's unfortunate is the young man who did, no, I mean, well, I don't want to say unfortunate because God bless him for still being alive, but the young man who they actually recovered the weapon off of, which was given in the initial reports that's no longer being mentioned in the media, was the one who was found with the weapon. Unfortunately, the man who was unalive was not the one who had the weapon. He did not have the weapon. His partner had it. Now, he might have been guilty of hanging with the wrong crowd and all that kind of stuff, but the partner that had the weapon ditched it while he was fleeing, and the police still shot. So that's crazy.
Site, it gives you cash back on things that you use each day, like gas, groceries, and takeout. To find a gal, Ryan Hinton was revealed in a press conference after the police chief and others met with Ryan Hinton's family, including his father, Rodney Hinton Jr.
On Friday morning, we met with the police chief of Cincinnati, and we viewed the body cam video of what happened with the police-involved shooting with Ryan. We stayed at the chief's office for about an hour and a half, and what we saw was disturbing. The family was upset, as you can imagine, watching your son, watching your grandson, watching your loved one getting shot and killed by the police was upsetting to this family. We left out of the police chief's office.
And it's crazy because the firearm was recovered at the scene but never been discharged.
And a few hours later, I was made aware that Rodney had an incident with a police officer that resulted in the officer's death. But again, we are here because we represent the estate and the police-involved shooting.
Rodney Hinton left the meeting with the police chief, and sometime after that is when police say he intentionally drove his vehicle into Deputy Larry Henderson. A probable cause affidavit states a Hamilton County Sheriff's Office deputy was standing on the sidewalk at the corner of the intersection outside of the lanes of travel where he was engaged in traffic control. The deputy was wearing a uniform and a fluorescent traffic vest. Based on witness statements and evidence at the scene, the defendant drove across oncoming lanes of traffic through the intersection and directly at the deputy, who was struck by the vehicle, causing injuries to the deputy. That intersection near the University of Cincinnati's campus has flowers and blue ribbons decorated in memory.
Oh, they got flowers and blue ribbons for the wrong person. Somebody needs to go ahead and drive a car into that. You feel me? I'm just saying. No, I'm live. This is really going on in the world. This is the wrong thing. We need to be making a memorial to that young man who lost his life and free the daddy. He don't got like no GoFundMe or nothing. How we not getting no chili to this man to get him out? We need him to get lawyered up. He needs to be packaged up, lawyered up, all that.
And in honor of Larry Henderson, a man who was simply working a detail directing traffic for the University of Cincinnati's graduation. He worked at a different agency, the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, than the police officer who shot Ryan Hinton. Larry Henderson had absolutely nothing to do.
Y'all from the same hood, ain't y'all? Okay.
With what happened to Ryan Hinton. On Monday, Ryan Hinton's family stood with their lawyers, distancing themselves from what Ryan's father is accused of doing, intentionally murdering Deputy Henderson.
We're here because we represent the estate of Ryan. We're not here to talk about the incident that occurred with the police officer. We do offer our condolences to the officer and his family. But we were hired to represent this family to investigate the police-involved shooting of their son, Ryan. This family is very upset about what occurred. We believe that this incident should be investigated. It's not as cut and dry as this officer should have just pulled out his gun and shot at Ryan. It's not that cut and dry. So that's why we're doing the records request. We're going to analyze frame by frame each one of these videos to determine why the officer made that deadly decision to shoot and kill Ryan.
Ryan Hinton's grandfather, the father of Rodney Hinton, also spoke.
I want to give a condolence out to the officers that got hurt, got killed, my whole family. I'm asking for forgiveness, and I've been praying hard for the officer that killed my grandson. I've been praying hard for him and his family because I know he's hurting off this. If I seen in the video about my grandson, I seen two scared people. I seen the officer scared, and I seen my grandson scared. So it's an unfortunate incident that happened. So that's all I seen. It was like, I didn't see the police there trying to kill. No. What I seen was two persons made a mistake. My grandson made a mistake being there, and the officer, he was trying to get back to his family too. So that's what I seen. So it's not about revenge or anything. That had nothing against nobody. You know, my Lord and Savior is Jesus Christ, and I represent him. So, with that said, please, everybody, just try to forgive everybody who done anything to anybody.
Rodney Hinton Jr. appeared in court over the weekend following his arrest on an aggravated murder charge. A wall of Larry Henderson's colleagues surrounded him. Hinton muttered something about being gone forever. Hinton was moved to a jail in a neighboring county. He was back in court asking for bail, and things got heated in the gallery when his brother attempted to contact him by knocking on the courtroom glass.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat, sir. Sit down. Have a seat. Have a seat. That's my problem.
Hey, but he thugging though. He's staring down the cops. He ain't tripping off none of that. None of that. Hey, that nigga not tripping off none of that. That nigga looking them police right in the eyes. So what?
Rodney Hinton was rushed out of the courtroom as his brother was escorted out of the gallery. Shortly thereafter, court resumed, with Hinton's lawyer asking for bail for him and entering a not guilty plea on his behalf.
Judge, I'm going to waive probable cause as a result of being acquainted with the case. I'm waiving probable cause.
Thank you so much. And is there a plea this morning?
There's a plea of not guilty, Your Honor.
Plea of not guilty?
Yes.
Will you enter a plea of not guilty? And thank you. And as to bond, the state has requested a hearing on the issue of bond or bail. You may be aware of that.
I am aware of that.
Who would like to proceed?
I'm proceeding, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Meanwhile, a detective testified about what happened that day.
Tell me what he did after he stopped.
So based on witness statements as well as the video, the vehicle accelerated quickly, proceeded eastbound, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic when there was no longer traffic to obstruct his travel, crossed into the oncoming lanes of traffic, went to the left of those little stanchions that are in the middle of the roadway, into the oncoming lanes, through the intersection, directly at where Deputy Henderson was standing, struck Deputy Henderson and the metal utility pole on the northeast corner of the intersection.
Okay. Were there any evidence of skid marks?
No, there were no indications at any point that he tried to brake, stop, or otherwise avoid Deputy Henderson.
And is that the conclusion that our accident reconstructionists have come to at this point?
At this time, yes.
Okay. And does it appear from your review of the video that he headed straight for Deputy Henderson?
Yes.
And did any of the multiple witnesses that you spoke to and the people that were in the vehicles that were surrounding him, the people that were on scene, did anyone indicate that any attempt to slow down or deviate his path straight to Deputy Henderson?
No, everybody said that he accelerated and was traveling at a high rate of speed all the way up until the time that he struck Deputy Henderson.
Okay. And when he struck Deputy Henderson, was the deputy injured?
Yes.
Okay. And what happened after he struck Deputy Henderson?
Deputy Henderson was launched several feet through the air. He came to rest in a turn lane several feet from where the collision occurred.
Rodney Hinton's defense attorney then questioned the detective.
Judge, first of all, I would like to offer on behalf of the Hinton family and myself, prayers to the Hinton family, prayers to the family of Larry Henderson, the fallen deputy, and I thank the court for having a fair assembly in the courtroom today.
Am I tripping or do that nigga look like Samuel L. Jackson? Look at this shit, babe. Tell me this nigga don't look like Samuel L. Jackson. Like he finna say, "Give me a fair day of court, motherfucker." I'm sorry. It's supposed to be serious. Bro look like Samuel L. Jackson.
Family, prayers to the family of Larry Henderson, the fallen deputy, and I thank the court for having a fair assembly in the courtroom today. With that, I'd like to ask you a few questions, not a lot, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's like the movement. You move around like Samuel L. Jackson.
You said that Mr. Hinton left the police station around 12:30. CIS.
He initially left around 10:30
Came back and then left again.
and then returned a couple hours later, yes.
And you said that individuals that know Mr. Hinton, his family members, were saying that he appeared to be agitated, upset, and so forth, correct?
Yes.
That nigga look like Samuel L. Jackson and Morgan Freeman at the same time. Morgan Jackson.
Okay. And
Samuel L. Freeman.
you don't know the source of that agitation or that distraughtless, do you? If you know, you might not. I don't think you do, but you have to answer the question.
The source of the agitation?
Yes.
Well, I would assume it was because of I believe it was because of the video and the reason that he was at
Right.
CIS.
Do you know?
I mean, but here goes the thing. Mental instability makes perfect sense. The police unalived his son, and less than 24 hours later, he went and unalived the unrelated police officer that had nothing to do with the agency or the whoop-de-bam against his son. Yeah, he's a little mentally unstable. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Who would have thought that the man whose son, who was a football star, who didn't have Blake on him, but the other kid with him had Blake on him, and God bless that kid for still being alive, tossed the Blake, it was unfired, and the cops still unalived him. His son didn't even have Blake. So the son was riding around with his homie. His homie had Blake. They probably was both doing something they had no business doing. So, that's that. But they get out and they run. His homie tossed Blake, but he the one that ended up getting popped. Blake was unfired. Never been discharged. The boy got unalived. It's crazy.
The mental history of Mr. Hinton.
No, I do not know detailed mental history.
Right. Do you know whether or not he's had any medically documented infirmities or conditions? Do you know that? You don't, do you?
No, I do not.
After bond was denied, the sheriff gave a brief statement.
He was a 33-year career deputy for our department. He retired approximately 5 months ago.
Look at bro. Who is this guy?
And he continued to serve.
Mullet, business in the front, party in the back.
Under oath. And he was directing traffic that day at what would have been a very, very joyous occasion for the University of Cincinnati graduates. Unfortunately, you know what unfolded, and we have lost Larry. Larry has been a deputy.
I'm sorry, that was an unintentional joking moment. We lost Larry. You shouldn't have said that. That we black. Look, we already black. Cuz look like Kane the wrestler. Oh God. See, black people. They almost definitely say the hard R. We're black. You have this little black boy who was a football player, riding with his homies. They get out, they jump out, they run from the police. They're wrong for that. We're not saying they're right for that. But that don't mean that you lose your life. That don't mean that when you toss an undischarged firearm, a never before discharged firearm, you pop the ninja who didn't even toss the Blake. So I get that we lost Larry, but shit, somebody should have gave Larry a map. He wouldn't have got lost. I'm just playing. Okay. 6th letter of the alphabet, the police. That's all I'm saying. 6th letter of the alphabet, the police. Larry shouldn't have been resisting. That's all I'm saying.
Who has been so extraordinary.
If Larry wouldn't have been resisting, it would have followed a lawful order. Never mind. Shout out to Larry. Nah, no shout out to Larry.
We've retired his badge number. Badge number 129 will be retired.
It's not a jersey. That nigga's not Kobe. She gonna hang this. We retired his badge number. Nobody cares. Nobody. How many people bought badge number 129 jerseys? There'll never be another officer 129 on this court. Well, nobody cares. Nigga, not Shaq. Nigga, you're not Jordan. You're not Kobe. Nigga, you're not even Charles Barkley with no rings. Fuck out of here, bro. Fuck out of here.
Larry touched so many lives in this
We lost Larry. Wasn't supposed to be that funny. See, the chat can't take nothing serious.
Organization because he was a trainer, because he worked in so many specialized units. And Larry was very animate about the fact
rolling up that Larry pack
that he's
going off on Larry tonight.
Stay on the front line. He did not wish to take exams to be promoted because Larry's service was on that front line. And I have to tell you, that is bravery extraordinaire. When deputies decide that they want to be out there facing every day to day, that's a sacrifice.
And here go the thing, man. Nothing against Larry, but God, was 600 busy? Was Christopher Loveboys busy? Like, goodness gracious. I mean, nothing against Larry, but, was 600 not available? Like, same.
And it's a sacrifice for his family, and they have made the
Larry the Lobster got boiled. You niggas are sick.
Ultimate sacrifice.
I want to bring in Ken Kober. He is the president of the Fraternal Order of Police in Cincinnati, Ohio. So, Ken, this is a shocking turn of events. We have a young man who was in an officer-involved shooting. He was killed by a Cincinnati police officer on a Thursday, and then the next day, police say that his father, and it sounds like intentionally, mows down a Hamilton County sheriff's deputy who's directing traffic at a college graduation. So it's a pretty shocking turn of events.
Yeah, it's been a terrible. Thursday was a tragedy. Then an officer had to defend his own life, and then on Friday to have a sheriff's deputy murdered simply directing traffic for a graduation is just, it's unthinkable.
It's crazy how they're more upset about the deputy being murdered than the 16-year-old, 17-year-old little boy who didn't have a blick on him, whose homie tossed a blick, who caught shots to the back, even though the blick that, let's say he did have the blick. Okay, cool, the kid had the blick on him. It was unfired. It was unfired. Your job as a peace officer is to use discernment and to use problem solving to keep situations safe and healthy and available for everybody. So y'all mad about Larry. What about the kid? Y'all ain't made no mention of that kid this whole time. It's Larry. It's Larry. We retired his badge number. Larry ain't never even put up 60 points, bro. What? Larry ain't never took us to the championship? Larry ain't never did 81? What? Come on now. Y'all remember Robert Ory 0.6 seconds. That wasn't Larry. That nigga didn't three-peat nothing, nigga. Niggas ain't never stood in line for a pair of Larrys. Never. Ain't nobody ever stood in line for a pair of Larrys. Never. Oh yeah, you seen the new Larry 11s just came out. What? Saying nobody ever. Larry. We lost Larry. Larry should have had a map.
I know you put out a pretty strong statement.
Larry should have had him. Larry zigged when he should have zagged. Exactly.
After
Bob,
Larry Henderson passed away from being hit by this vehicle. And
bro hit show Larry.
you were calling for the prosecutor to pursue the death penalty in this case. So it sounds like you believe that
I'm rich trapped from the ass. Watch me hit my Larry,
this was no accident. You believe that this was intentional. Tell me what you know about this that leads you to believe that.
Absolutely. You know, our traffic unit and our homicide unit work together. And through the course of their investigation, they determined that this absolutely was an intentional act. And yes, I am absolutely standing with, I think, every other law enforcement officer in this county that expects the prosecutor to pursue the death penalty in this case.
The lawyer for Ryan.
So what happens to the dude who unalived the kid? We're not even saying Larry shouldn't get whatever y'all, or Larry, the dude shouldn't get whatever y'all want to do for what he did to Larry. That's y'all business. What about the dude who did it to the kid?
In Hinton's estate for the son, said that the father, Rodney Hinton, had been in a meeting with Cincinnati police. And for people who maybe aren't aware of this, there's a long-standing collaborative agreement in the city of Cincinnati where...
Rolling on my Larry.
You know, there was a history many moons ago, years ago, of some police-involved shootings involving young African-American men. The federal government came in. There's this agreement where now Cincinnati police, within 24 hours, if there's an officer-involved shooting, they say, this is what we know. They try to be very open with the public and present what they can about the investigation. And before that happened, apparently, they were having a meeting with the family of Ryan Hinton and showing them this body camera footage of what happened. And the family of Ryan Hinton, or the lawyers for Ryan Hinton, said the father left that meeting very angry. And apparently after this meeting is when Mr. Henderson, the deputy, Larry Henderson, was run down.
Who would have thought the father of the boy who was unalived by the police, who knew he wasn't about to get no justice for y'all unaliving his son, was upset? Who would have thought?
By Rodney Hinton. So do you know anything more about what may have happened in that meeting or any of the details about that?
You know, the police department does a fantastic job being transparent and getting this information out as soon as they can when a critical incident occurs. And that also includes meeting with the family. You know, the chief goes over with them, you know, if there's body camera footage of what occurred, how things occurred. And while I understand that, you know, the father was upset, that's absolutely no excuse to go and murder a police officer who had nothing to do with this, to murder anybody. Like I said, I understand emotions were running high. My understanding that there was some kind of confrontation that occurred.
And that's crazy. Exactly. Why would Larry run head first into that poor man's vehicle? What the hell was Larry even thinking about? Why would Larry run head first in full police uniform into that man's vehicle head on? Larry, you crazy for that. Larry, you crazy for that. Larry wanted to know how that bumper would feel. Yeah, for sure, for your boy. I don't know what Larry was thinking about. Larry was a hardcore kind of guy. Got it.
So, have you heard the news, Flush?
I've been
hardcore kind of guy. Got it.
There, I wasn't there for it. And then apparently at some point he stormed off, and then of course that led to just more tragic events.
Mm-hmm. What can you tell us about the investigation? What has been revealed through that traffic investigation? You said the traffic unit. What's come of that? I mean, were there some statements made by Rodney Hinton where did he say something about, I did this on purpose, or, an eye for an eye? I mean, what happened?
I'm not going to get into too much of the investigation and what, they have, evidence they have, but I could tell you all the evidence pointed towards this absolutely was an intentional act. And then that was, in my opinion, only, further proven when at his arraignment Saturday morning, showing absolutely zero remorse whatever for what happened.
Tell me, Ken, if you would, how much of an impact, how difficult has this been for the law enforcement community there in Cincinnati, Ohio? Having a deputy, I mean, this was a retired deputy working a traffic detail at a college graduation. It was just, and he retired in December, is my understanding. So this is an off-duty detail that he's working, and he's just working the traffic, thing, and he's run down. I mean, what has this been like for the police officers there in the Cincinnati area?
Quite honestly, it's terrible. It's infuriating. It's sad. That a deputy who's there directing traffic, running a light for an occasion which should be a fantastic occasion. You got a bunch of University of Cincinnati students that are graduating. Should be a time to celebrate. Instead, it's nothing but a time of tragedy. From the first officer that responded, that had to try to administer CPR. To the deputies that all are on scene, to our traffic unit, our homicide unit, everybody that's been involved with this. It's just an absolute, just seeing the evil that society has is something that has been very hard to deal with. And of course, we had the flying pig this weekend. Officers had to go right back to putting a uniform on as they're trying to process what occurred, to go in and protect the public, because that's what we're sworn to do. It's something that it's certainly going to be very, very difficult to get us through this process.
Mm-hmm. And it's my understanding, too, that Larry Henderson, I mean, this is somebody who had a wife. And I was reading last night, too, that I believe he was fostering some very young children.
Yeah, I mean, just an absolute fantastic person. Had a fantastic career in the sheriff's department, and then retired and decided that still wanted to be involved. So he became a special deputy that, their primary function is to, work off-duty details where, on-duty people aren't available. Just to make some extra money in retirement, to be able to take care of his family further, the kids that he has. And it's just something that is absolutely senseless that never should have happened.
Do you expect that the prosecutor, I know you can't speak for the prosecutor, but do you expect that they will? I mean, do you believe that Connie Pillage, the newly elected Hamilton County prosecutor, will seek the death penalty in this case?
Well, the statement that she's made already is that she is going to throw the full force of the law to this defendant. And under the full force of the law would mean that she's going to pursue the death penalty. She certainly hasn't made any statements saying that yet, but that is something that myself and every other police officer in this tri-state area expect that is going to happen.
Ken, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think it is important to note that through this tragedy, though, the outpouring of support from the community, as you saw, the officers working the Flying Pig, the Reds were in town this weekend, has been incredible. I know there's been a lot of keyboard warriors that have had threats towards the police and things like that on social media, but when you see people face to face, the good people in this community, the elected leaders that have reached out to give condolences, is something that, at least there's been at least something good that has come out of this. But we fully expect that he will be prosecuted. And like I said, I will be doing everything in my power to make sure that the death penalty is pursued.
So again, you want the death penalty pursued for this man. What about for the dudes who unalived the little boy? What is his consequence?
I know that you had told me before we started that you knew Larry Henderson just a little bit. You didn't know him well, but you did know him a little bit.
Just see him in passing. It's kind of hard when you work in Cincinnati, especially, and we work with the sheriff's department, and somebody that was involved in as many things as he was. It's kind of hard not to cross paths with a lot of the sheriff's department. They're a fantastic group of guys, and as I was talking to some deputies last night that knew him very, very well, that were really good friends with him. Just the stories that they're telling, it just speaks volumes of the character of him and how well loved he was, and how much he's really going to be missed.
And it's just a tragedy. It's just awful. Well, Ken Kober, thank you so much. Thank you for joining me.
All right, man, that's that. Make sure y'all hit that like, hit that comment, hit that good subscribe button, notification bell, hit all. Stay tapped in for the latest and the greatest. Free Avenue Angel tweets free.